This decoding will be about boots on the ground. Why that song seems to have caught on like wildfire. And y'all are not going to hear something that you have heard before. I'm bringing this to you raw and untamed and uncut. Now, first of all, the way that I came to this was reading into the energy of boots on the ground. And what I realized was that energy is connected to that particular phrase. And that phrase represents going to war. It is a military phrase used to get people ready for war. Now, one thing that I was wondering was why no one else had talked about this, and I found it to be strange because I've been doing these decodings since I started having visions in 2006 after my first near-death experience. And now it's like a viral thing. It's even like a trendy thing. So I was really a little bit shocked that nobody was talking about this. And I intentionally sat back and waited to see if anybody was going to talk about this. And nobody has. So here we go. We're going to get into it. And as I said, this will be information that you haven't heard anywhere else before. So I am a military brat. And because my father was in the military, we traveled a lot. And that's not a coincidence. This goes back to my Akashic records. I have a past life in ancient Egypt, not the one in the West, the one in Africa. And in that past life, my nickname was the Bone Crusher. And I was a man in that past life. Using the past life ceremony that I posted here on Patreon a while back was how I was able to start retrieving some of this past life experiences. So I chose a dad who was in the military and a veteran now because there were some things that I did not heal from me being a part of the military in ancient Egypt. Okay, so let me give you all this information. Let me pull this up so that you can see this. All right, so as indigenous people, there's a specific type of force field that we can create, and we can move energy in ways that are unique to people who have eumelanin. It's different than phenomelanin. And because our melanin has these unique attributes, we are considered to be culture creators because what we do, what we say, how we dress, all of these things create culture. And the culture that we create over here in the United States, which I will refer to as Kemet, okay, for a specific reason. But if you notice, all across the world, people try to emulate, quote unquote, black people in America on every continent. That's not a coincidence. Back in the late 90s was when I first learned about the culture creators. So the cabal would hire melanated people to create culture, and then they would create music videos, movies, songs, trends for fashion based on that culture. And they were using a form of high magic to create this. And this is how they socially engineer people. This is a form of mass hypnosis. So a lot of the people that they were hiring, of course, couldn't talk about it, but this was a section of the military. And this is similar to the branch of MK Ultra. So because we have experienced many traumatic events, and many of us didn't know we needed to heal them, right, until you awakened, it's easier to embed codes subliminally in our subconscious mind and alter our behavior without us noticing. At least it used to be. So when I first heard Boots on the Ground, I thought it was catchy, but I remembered the culture creators, and I was like, wait a minute. This is like the gatekeepers, right? These are the new gatekeepers that they're putting in place to call for war. And so my first question was, let's see what's going on with astrology. So in 2025, a significant planetary shift, which was Neptune entering into Aries and Uranus entering into Gemini. And they echo the astrological conditions from the Civil War. And those exact same astrological placements are happening right now. And I'm recording this in late July of 2025. So these transits, combined with some other major planetary movements, suggest a year of disruption, transformation, specifically in areas of communication, beliefs, and societal structures, or the culture. Now, these are echoes of the Civil War. Neptune in Aries, and Aries is the warring energy. Neptune's ingress into Aries, which happened in March 2025, mirrors its position during the Civil War, a period marked by heightened idealism, spiritual rebellion, and a lot of people started to focus on individual action, like, what can I do myself, right? And so this is why we're going to see a lot of people rising up, okay? Now, Uranus in Gemini occurred July 2025, and that coincides with the Civil War period as well. So now we have double Civil War energy being sent on this planet. And that's a major shift in communication, media, information, and dissemination. And this is why all of a sudden we're hearing about TikTok being changed to a platform called M that's going to be controlled by the major conglomerates, the billionaire boys of America. They know. They have already used the system, the Minority Report system. That wasn't a movie, that was a documentary. They've already used it. They're calculating who's going to do what and when and the way it's going to alter reality. Now, for historical context, the Civil War was triggered by disputes over slavery and states' rights, leading to a divided nation. The simultaneous presence of Neptune in Aries and Uranus in Gemini during that era is seen by some astrologers as a potent combination for social and political upheaval. And we're seeing that. Now, on a social and political level, the Uranus and Gemini transit amplifies division. So we can definitely see that, even with the Elon Musk and Trump, with them breaking up. You know, they bromance went south. And then Elon Musk went south, right? And all of a sudden now, he wants to create a new God. Remember American gods. And for those of you who've been around for a while, Remember, I did the decoding on American Gods, and that's when I started to get shadow banned. And the mark of the beast was the black man and the black woman in that show. And I showed y'all the Hebrew letters that were written in the beard of the black man on American Gods in one of those images. I posted that on every platform, and they immediately pulled it down. They immediately deleted it, and I knew then that it was about to turn up. And I knew when that happens, I don't need anything to prove anything to me, because I know how accurate I am. But when that happened, that showed me how important these decodings really are. Okay, so with that being said, Neptune and Aries, which is like a reevaluation of our beliefs. So that surge in spiritual independence alongside of this energy of warriors is going to lead to a lot of people unchurching themselves, untaming themselves,